Sound better? Yep, I am much better. I am much better. Trying to fucking exit this trade. Two. Alright, I got out of this trade. That was a brutal pump. U.S. housing starts unexpectedly rise to the fastest pace in 2000. Alright, I don't know what to make of that information, but let's start with futures. Futures are doing futures thing, went up overnight and came right back down. I think right now futures are bouncing off of a decent level, which is right here. Where is that? Right about here. So futures are bouncing off of this level, and most likely, I think this bounce is a valid bounce because it is bouncing off of this super trend, established super trend, and I think, and that is why it is sustaining this bounce. But let's see if it can come back down and test this number again. If it tests and breaks this number, I don't believe it's gonna break, but just in case it does break, then I think we can look for not 4,300, but right about here, a test of this number again, 4358. And this is still the base case for me to the downside. And again, the upside is capped 4422, somewhere around here. This range is still the base case. To downside 4357, 40. Let's round that up at 4360. To the upside 4422. This is the base case for the futures. And let's turn over to three. So this is again what I'm watching, and this was a little pump that I was trying to close my position here. I got this pump and kind of got nickel and dimed there for a few cents. But if it's a large position, these matter. And here's a range that I'm watching for SPX. The downside, again, this is the base case 43, 60, 65, whatever this number would come into. This is a 50 EMA on the weekly. This is my base case to the downside, and 5 EMA is the base case to the upside, pointing at 44.29. So let's see how that plays out. And on the SPY side of things, same thing. The base case is 434.77. I'll grab a lot of perhaps. I think it's going very cheap, and I'll look to this time. Unlike yesterday, I would look to exit that lotto, even if I get like 25 to 30% on that. To the upside, 441.54. This is the base case to the upside because the swings are super wild. Cannot keep this thing, want to keep this range a little open, but I will operate on this chart with that 1 hour chart. So I will operate on based on this chart 436.26. Uh, right here. So 436.26 to the downside, and right about here 438.61 to the upside. So this is my base case, and I would operate based on this. If it clears here, then we'll look for a push into 440. So if I can, then I'll based on the direction of the market, I want to capture. I'm gonna probably get a lotto here around 440, and to the downside again about 436. So this is the range that I want to probably play a spy in. If I play spy, But knowing me, I think I'll kind of stick to SPXL. So yeah, that's the case on the SPY side of things. And for Nasdaq, this will again play a crucial role right here. 12,280. This number should be the line in sand right here. 13,250. Whatever this number is, and I'll keep a close watch on all of this. Uh, I'll keep a close watch on all of this data. And ahead of this number would be my base case to the downside for Nasdaq, and to the upside again, this number 13,569, 13,570. So a good, better than 200 points to the upside, and most likely about 50 points to the downside. We will figure out after that, and after what happens, after what happens on this, on the 100 moving average for Nasdaq, we'll figure out what happens after that. And on the Q side of things, 327 to the downside. Not really. I don't believe that's going to happen. 328, not 327, 328. I don't believe it's going to pull that far down. But just in case it does, this is where I think it should bounce. That would be a pretty deep pullback. Not really expecting that. And why am I not expecting that? Because of these technicals. Getting overbought, and I think yesterday we saw a bit of that. And to the upside, 342, yeah, 342 is still a very good possibility on the Nasdaq side of things or the Q side of things. 342 is a very good possibility still. So let's see how that works out. It looks like pretty oversold to me here. So even a bounce today at the open, I'm not seeing a very clear direction. Maybe to the downside, but I'm not seeing a very clear direction here. Why? Wow! Look at that fucking thing again. This is what's been happening with. I closed that for a loss here on this pump. Now look at VIX. It is pushing. It's ridiculous. Futures are coming back down. Sold that for loss. I think futures will test 43.83. I think I want the futures to actually come back down into 43.71 and test that number again. Will that happen? Well, I believe so. But the way that things are going, let me pull up VIX. So VIX is pushing, and still, I don't believe there is a clear direction to the markets at the open. Just like yesterday, yesterday was a clear direction that it would come back down because it was overbought, because VIX was overbought, and this is not the one that I want to see. Uh, we had overbought conditions yesterday, and we were expecting pretty much this thing to come back down. And today, none of that is supporting here. So, uh, not sure how to deal with this data today. If the VIX, if you look at the 1 hour RSI average, that is pointing up. So, expecting VIX to kind of hit this number again right here, 2274, and there, if it clears that number, then we can decide if it's going to push into this number, 2308. But still not seeing a whole lot of upside on VIX, kind of big story. Plus the mask mandates have come off, and I'll be looking to get involved into tech. and travel. Those are the two main ones that I want to trade. Uh, and I'll be keeping a close watch on the. Okay, you can't see my screen, but change windows again here. So this is what I was looking for. VIX. So VIX, right now, it is trying to push up, but it has to clear its 50. And there's a lot of there are three moving averages here sitting at around 2274 and stuff. So if it can clear this number, then we can look for a VIX to push into 2281 and perhaps into 2307. So this is most likely path for VIX, and I'm not seeing VIX beyond that. Not seeing VIX beyond a meaningful number to hit. Maybe it can push up till 23, but I'm not seeing VIX to kind of go nuts today. If it happens, it does happen. Then we'll play accordingly. But otherwise, I'm not really seeing VIX doing anything crazy. Uh, and right about here, VIX. So daily VIX is still, kind of pointing down. This thing is still pointing down. This thing is still pointing down. Unless that changes, there's nothing much to be done with VIX. Probably, we'll look for VIX for our entries and exits. And besides that, I don't see VIX playing a greater role today. If that changes during the course of the session, yeah, we will take a note of that and we'll play accordingly. So travel and within travel, especially looking at something like a Marriott, Hilton, or even airlines. I don't really like airlines, but still, I'll look to play either Delta or Boeing along those lines. And I'll keep a close watch on Google. Google, the travel industry makes a bigger portion of Google's revenue. So I'll keep a close watch on Google as well. Besides that, I don't see anything exciting in the markets today. But that might change. That might definitely change. But I think the bias is still to the upside. Uh, I the way that I want the how do I put this? The way I would play if if it were if everything equal, open to the downside, and most likely test 436 37 436 20 on SPY, and then take it from there, most likely to the upside. That's how I want to play that. Open to the downside, and then after that downside, I'll look to play the upside. Want to see downside, clearly watching futures here. Want to see futures test that number again. Most likely come back down into this number and run up from there again. That's how I want to see things play out today. Besides that, I don't really have anything particular. Netflix, I am getting inclined towards playing Netflix earnings. Uh, the way that I want to do it is I don't want to buy anything without paying for it. So I would pay for whatever I'm trying to buy here. I would pay for that first. Uh, so what do I mean by that? Netflix, where is Netflix? So Netflix, let's pull up Netflix on a weekly. So Netflix, Ivy is super high on Netflix, right? And people are buying contracts all the way out here, 260 and 220s. And it's incredible to see those, even those go for uh, a considerable premium. Otherwise, it wouldn't have. But it's amazing to see all of that. And I am not really pricing in 265 right now. But if that happens, that would be crazy, and that will pull down the whole sentiment with it. So Nasdaq probably will suffer if the earnings are, doesn't matter how the earnings are, but if the stock plays violently to the downside, this will sour the sentiment. So I am keeping a close watch on that. So if I want to play earnings, let's say if I want to buy a call around 321, or so, let's say if I want to buy a put about 321, then I will look to figure out how do I pay for that. Probably, I'll sell puts below this number, 260 or something around this, or even maybe around this number, 300. And I'll capture that premium and I'll use that premium to buy puts for Netflix. If I want to buy calls, the same thing. I would sell out of the money calls, take those proceeds and buy the in the money calls. That is how I want to play Netflix. Do not want to give away the money. Why do I want to do that? Simply because the IV, the moment the earnings are done, the IV will crush everything. Doesn't matter what kind of calls puts you are buying, it will crush that. Uh, Even if it's slightly bit outside of the money, it will crush. Even if it's in the money, it will crush the earnings. Just the premium will be left. It will crush the premium, but the intrinsic value, if it goes in the money, it will be left along with that. So yeah, keep a watch on all of that stuff. And that's pretty much it from my side. If anybody is watching anything in particular, yeah, sorry. One more thing. One more thing. This is the guy I'm watching. This is the guy I'm watching right now. And I think we should get a pretty decent entry here with Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, even last night, I think we spent quite a bit of time on this. Here's the line I'm watching for Bitcoin, 2041 280, something like that. And it looks as though it will clear that line. And if it does clear that line, we are looking for a push into 41,750. Most likely it will hit 42 and 42.5. So I'm looking for this to play out just like this. And I'll be getting involved in probably a small ticket item. Uh, um, I don't know. I can play Tesla for this. I could try Coin. I could try Mara. I could try MSTR. Yeah. So and the reason that even though Bitcoin is kind of moving $1,000 or more than better than $1,000, the stocks, Bitcoin related stocks, are not moving because I think people have lost interest in that, and it's just it's showing up. It's showing up. One notable thing: U.S. 10-year is at 2.9, and I believe it's going to hit 3 today. And this is, I don't know, this should have sparked a clear push to the downside on Nasdaq. Well, it's not doing that as of today, but let's keep an eye on this thing. And it has cleared its 200 moving average right here. So I think it will keep chugging along. It will keep pushing along. The data on this is against what it is doing right now. So I don't know how this will play out. Wow, look at that. 14% and push down. So from the time, this is the time that is interesting for us. Below 200, below 200, below 200, comfortably below 200. And it tried to push up above 200 right about here. And this is a monthly chart, but it couldn't. Now, this month, it did clear that. So yeah, you go figure what does that mean. Technically, it is in a super strong trend. I think this trend will continue. And now the thing that you want to see is, uh, will it translate into, and this is important, ladies and gents, and it might look like, but this is being overdone right here. But if you want to see the economy avoid a recession, a continual push in a 10-year yield is very important. If 10-year yield comes back down, then this will cause a lot of trouble on the 2-year will invert. Uh, the yield curve basically will invert comparative to 2-year. What does that mean? The banks would not be able to profitably operate. Usually, banks borrow money at the lower time frames and lend it at a higher time frame. So they make that difference there. So, and banks are obviously looking. So 2-year has to stay below 10-year. Basically, that's the whole idea, and this should dent the tech. As of now, we are not seeing that full blown dent for tech, but tech has come down considerably. So I think the high flying names will still take a beating. If 10-year pushes up around this pace, about 1% or whatnot, this is still gradual. This is acceptable. But if this thing gets violent for whatever reason, then yeah, then there will be a problem. All right, so 7 minutes to open. One more thing. One more thing. Sorry, guys. One more thing is. All right, so one more thing is. Where do I put this right here? TLT. So again, I'm watching this thing, and this thing is also critical. And I think TLT will come back into this number. This is where I think TLT should bottom out. Should be an ephemeral bounce today, but most likely TLT should hit this number 116 somewhere around this, and this is where I'm expecting TLT to bottom out. Does that mean people will start buying this TLT again, pushing the bonds to the upside? Don't want to see that happen. If you want to avoid recession, you don't want to see this happen. But at this moment, the way things are going, Fed can only do so much. Fed can either hurt the stock market or save the economy. So that's the choice that Fed is trying to make right now. Right now, seems like Fed is trying to hurt the stock market, but keeping the recession at bay. As long as the 10-year keeps pushing higher, that would be the outcome of this whole endeavor. Uh, and yeah, that's pretty much it from my side. Uh, I'll see you in Sanity in a bit. Good luck.
Darth, can you take a peek at MA?
Which one?
MA?
MasterCard?
Yeah, so that came up on your scan actually, and it's
Oh, yeah.
I haven't seen that particular setup on MA in the last couple years.
I think all of these companies will keep doing better. Mastercard, what is that? What is that? Okay, here. Mastercard, Discover, Visa, AXP, they should be doing good because the credit card usage data that has come in better than expected. Perhaps I think the consumer is very strong, so I think this thing will keep pushing higher. Let's see if it can push beyond this number. Then we'll look for a test of 364. So base case to the upside is the 50 moving average on the weekly, which is about 358. If it can clear that, we can look for a push into 362. And to the downside, I think right about here, 350, 360, 354. Let's round that up at 354. And if that breaks, a clear push into 347 for Mastercard.
Cool, thank you.
Is we shopping? Yeah. Uh,